Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Church Plant Journey blog. We are so glad that you are here, whether you're cheering us on or you're on a church plant journey of your own. We're super excited and hopefully some of this content will be helpful.
So my name's Emily, this is Michael.
I'm Michael.
And we are so excited to be on this church plant journey together. But we realize that our situation isn't normal. In fact, one of the interviews for our residency was with the senior pastor at Grace Church, Tim Howie, and we sat down on his couch. I think the first question he said was, "So you're both here? Like, how did that happen?" And while Michael is, on the only one on staff at Grace, he's not the only one working on this church plant. We have been in this together from the beginning, and we've come to find that that isn't always the case for church planters and their wives.
In fact, Tim Howie was our very last interview. Our very first interview that we had at Grace Church, we were together as well. Mm-hmm. And I just remember saying to, actually it was Justin Raby, I said like, hey, we want to do this together. So from the very start, this has been a together thing. And I realized how important this is because pretty much any pastor that I get an opportunity to run into, I always wind up asking them questions, especially if they've planted churches before. And one of the questions I always ask is, hey, what do I need to know? Like, if you could do something different, what would you have done differently? And how can I best be praying right now? And almost every time, in fact, every single time, I've gotten the same advice. And it's all something like this. It's make sure that you include your wife. That's almost everybody has said that. Make sure that you include your wife. I regret not including her. I regret not asking her opinion on things. I regret not getting her wisdom. I regret working so late and not being home with her and all this. So just so many pastors and church planters have given me that advice, and I just realized how important that was. That when we start this journey, that we do it together.
Yeah, and we don't get it right 100% of the time.
No,
there's times that we have it wrong, but there are some things that we want to share with you about what that looks like for us or why we choose to do it this way. Well, one is the advice that we're given. If you know Michael, if he's got advice and it seems good advice he's heard a lot of times, he's really diligent to follow it. So that's been good. But also it brings us so much joy to do this together.
Oh, absolutely. We've been at this thing for about a month now, and just this morning I looked to Emily and I'm like, I'm so excited to be at work today.
Yeah,
this is so much
like
fun.
Work.
And most of that excitement comes from we're doing it together. It's so awesome. It's so much fun. It is a joy.
There are times that it might not be a joy.
It can be a little, painful.
Yeah, there's times where it can be dangerous to work closely with your spouse. We know that because there have been other people in our life who have given us, I don't want to say bad advice, but they've given us maybe
warnings.
Like a look, like a warning, like, are you sure you want to work so closely together? And I think that a lot of that mindset comes from the fact that the expectations are huge and can ruin a relationship. But for us, we try our best to communicate well and communicate our expectations of one another really well. So part of that is like being clear about our job descriptions, which Michael, again, type A, like really organized Mike, make sure that I have my to-do list and I know what is expected of me and that I share that with him so he's not expecting me to do things that I have no idea I'm supposed to do. And vice versa. We make sure that we kind of know who's accountable for what and who's going to be
So we both have strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes because I know that something is a strength of Emily's, I just assume that she'll do it. And then when she doesn't, I'm upset with her. But I never told her to do that. I never asked her. It was never. And so I just realized, whoa, I can't be mad at her for not doing something that I just assumed she would do. And so we just come to the conclusion, let's just write this out. Like this is what your expectations will be. This is what my expectations will be. And it'll be great. But I think we also have a unique situation in that we worked together on cruise ships for about 4.5 years in a space like we could
just imagine probably your bathroom. Like that was probably the size of our first room.
We've been uniquely prepared for a situation like this, close
like an
quarters,
like for a relationship. But
we love it. So ultimately, what we have discovered is being together in this is essentially a value of ours. Like it's just a non-negotiable. It's just how we operate. And in fact, it is a value that we want to instill in our church family in our staff culture, in our just, I mean, not every staff member is going to work with their spouse, there, but the importance of being together, being on the same side, getting each other's back, that's huge. I think it's so
and leading
important.
as a team. I mean, it's fun to make decisions together. Even the decision to come and be a part of this residency or to just pursue church planting was us on walks, early in the morning and just talking through every detail of that, what we envisioned our church to look like, and what kind of people we saw there. All of those things have been fun to work through together. And
praying together, it's awesome.
Right.
I like to say too, I mean, I really listen to what my wife has to say, and if you're a church planter here or a husband, do that. Really listen, because there's so much wisdom in there. I feel like when God speaks to our family, he speaks to Emily. And
that's a lot of pressure.
But she's so discerning, and so anyway, I'm just so grateful to have her on my team.
Yeah, and I would say too, if you're listening to this and you're a wife, maybe your husband is thinking about church planting, or he is, or maybe he's a pastor, or he's in ministry or whatever, and you're not really sure what your role is, I would say, take the pressure off of yourself. You could even listen to this video and think, wow, that's a lot of pressure to be involved in all of that. I don't want that. Well, I would just to ask you to pray about what God has for you in this season, and what kinds of things he wants you working on, and what kind of things that he has gifted you with uniquely to be a helper to your husband in this season. It might be, getting up on stage and being the host of services, or it might be being in the background writing thank you notes, but whatever, or just praying for him faithfully. But whatever it is that God is kind of leading you in, I would encourage you, take the pressure off being everything, or being, like the wife at the church down the road or whatever. But just be you, be who God made you to be, and I think you and your husband together will find a fit that works really well for you and for your church.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we love you guys, and we're so thankful again just for you watching this and spending some time with us. If there's any way that we could pray for you, we would love to pray for you. And so please let us know, either comment or message us, or we would just love to be more involved in your life and make an actual connection instead of us just talking to a camera. So let us know how we can be praying for you. And as always, we're super excited for what God's got in store for us, for you, and ultimately for Long Island, New York.
We'll see you guys next time.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Church Plant Journey blog. We are so glad that you're here, whether you're cheering us on or you're a Church Plant Journey person of your own. Here we go again.
Okay.